Peace to the family. Start the live already. I ain't really waiting for nobody. Just some things I need to get off of my chest. So, here starts the venting process. Empress, what you like? I going crazy. Peace to the family. Can't wait for a couple more to come in still before I start venting. So yeah, family, it's just the reasoning. As you see the title, fake woke niggas, man. Fake woke niggas, Jack-Rases, right? I believe there was something to the effect of, was Rasta Piscean? When I say Piscean, for the family who is abreast, even with the astrological information, would even know what I'm talking about. When we say is it Piscean, because within the Piscean age, we saw a lot of religions, you know, taking root and taking, establishing themselves and setting their foundation, family. So, really and truly, while I acknowledge even the movement, Rasta movement, supposed to be really all about rebellion and resistance against white supremacy, it's still falling within the belief category due to the Judeo-Christian mindset attached to it. Now somebody might say, guys, you always have something to say about Rasta and whatever. I don't know, man. It just come away that the universe is basically just forcing the exposure, really, of all concepts that really cannot really liberate us fully. You see what I'm saying? So it's sort of in a metaphysical, spiritual kind of way, eradicating all them things. And sorry to say, the tradition even, falling within that family. Sorry to say. You see what I'm saying? So fake woke niggas. I start this reasoning by, if the family knows me, and if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you will know that we have been doing this for, let's say, about a little over 2 years, right? So here we are working, studying, building the brand, giving lectures, making videos from such time. And now, as well, family, attached to the YouTube, you will see that we are actually a printing company as well. We print on shirts. This is one of the very first shirts we made, and you can see it's really ancient. You get me? Oh, guys, I have to call Malik in soon, guys. My brother, they're still. Let me see if I can invite Malik there. Yeah. Yeah. No. Anyway. So yeah, someone using that brand, Melanated Empire. You understand? Melanated Empire. To rise the consciousness, whether it is through clothing, through videos, through even diet, because the family know we as cook as well. So we've been trying to build a brand for about 2 years now, family. And turns out, my God is going today to even finally register, our name and everything, so one can progress and move forward. And the people showing us were like, well, we can't actually get that name because someone has already registered a business with that name. I'm like, what? You can't be serious, man. You can't be serious, yo. You can't be serious because we've been building this brand for about 2 years, family. You see what I'm saying? So how now you come in and tell me we cannot have the name once you do the name search because someone has actually taken the name? I'm like, yo, that ain't right, You know what? Can I probably have some information in regards to the individual who registered their business under said such name? So I can perhaps have a dialogue with them to see, what can be done, really? Because I can't just give up my name, yo. Look at how old the shirt is, family. You've seen all the vinyl and coming out on the shirt already. As I said, this is one of the first shirts we made, rising consciousness through clothing. That's when we just started. I'm like, peace God, I understand, man. I knew from time you didn't answer, you were at work, all strength and powers from the ancestors, put in that work, yo. So what began as just a clothing line, family, we decided, yo, you know what? Them t-shirts ain't holding enough space to even dialogue with the people. Because I mean, we're coming to a stage now, people like to put different slogans and things on shirts. So the goddess came up with that idea for us to start our own brand really in regards to that. And so we did. So we just found that the teachers didn't really have enough space. I started even doing lectures, family. My very first lecture was the truth about Jesus Christ. Because being in the Caribbean, right, the family should know this is one of the first drop-off points for the slaves, really. Um, Almost every village or town, family, on this island has a giant Catholic church. You see what I'm saying? So the concept of even there having something besides this Jesus story, and even if there is a possibility of the Jesus story being fake, our people have never gravitated to that in St. Lucia. You understand? Yes, it's true we have some woke ones who do the research and, you know, want to know what time it is. But majority of the people are not on that family. So it's like we decided to, you know, start doing the lectures to raise the awareness to the people. You understand? We started to do it in the town where I'm from, Beaufort, and then on one occasion we actually moved to the city. And we got a good feedback, family. You understand? After that, I did the Bible and astrotheology because a lot of people are not also aware that there is the study of the, you can even say the study of cosmology within the Bible and the study of stars and astronomy. You understand? So we decided to raise the awareness again. I was doing them in kind of quarterly intervals. So every 3 months, I would take my own money and rent a room or rent a classroom in the school, in one of the schools in the south of the island, and perform my lectures. You see what I'm saying? And after the Bible and astrotheology, I actually did the Black Woman is God. Now that concept really got some tension. You know what I mean? Because again, we're not even exposed to even just a slightly different perception in what we were raised with. Because if they lied, family, if my great, not my mother, not my grandmother, but my great grandmother would have had to be the one to experience slavery in St. Lucia. So if my great grandmother woke up in slavery or she was there just about when emancipation, okay, if what she was taught was off of that slave plantation, she passed it on to my grandmother, and my grandmother passed it on to my mother. And my mother obviously will teach me because that's what she knows. So I'm basically here to break the cycle. As Dr. John Henry Clark said, there must be a sacrificial generation where that generation has to do things differently, right? That generation has to do things. Big up yourself, Addis, man, being a while still, you know, bedroom from England. Big up yourself, King. Peace, God. You know. So when we break the cycle with that sacrificial generation, family, which I'm hoping that everyone, that the few of us who are basically in this reasoning with me, you are that sacrificial generation. You are the one doing things differently, right? We have to be that sacrificial generation. So if we're that, and we break the cycle that's been going on from our great grandparents, right? And we come to do things differently. Obviously, the generation following will follow in our footsteps. You see what I'm saying? So within that understanding, family, we need to break what they were teaching our parents, guys, and because that Jesus story and that Bible story, the family should know by now. By now, it's questionable. I know when you just come into the consciousness and into the awakening, you'll be like, yo, the whole Bible fake, man. The whole Bible fake. But then if you do really go into the studies and into the research, you will find out, you know what? The patriarchs don't exist, right? Some of the tribes in there, like the Hittites and these people, actually existed. And some of the lesser individuals, like Hezekiah, um, 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 was that high priest that crucified Jesus, man? That they say, not Pontius Pilate. They took him to Caiaphas and Annas. I think Caiaphas actually existed as well. But even that story is incorrect because Caiaphas and Annas they were never two high priests ruling at the very same time. So the story, family, is just riddled with holes. So if you don't just stay back and say, well, the whole story fake, and you'll be like, okay, there are certain parts, well, that fake, that fake. There was no Noah story, there was no Moses, there was, you understand? You will even raise your awareness and raise your consciousness in regard to that book that they enslaved our foreparents with. So by us creating this brand, right, and bringing all this knowledge and information to the people, we're trying to raise consciousness, and that is what the brand is saying, raising consciousness through clothing. And then we saw, you know what, we can't do it on clothes, so it's raising consciousness by any means necessary, right? So we did that, and as I said, the black woman is gone. Peace, Kinto. Peace, God. The black woman is gone. When I had that lecture, because everyone has the perception, remember, we are predominantly a Christian island family, right? So when I came with that lecture, a lot of people didn't really receive it. Like, they were like, what? Black woman is God? First of all, God is a man, and we've been raised up knowing that God is a man and they have no woman, and all kind of story, all kind of, you know what I mean? And that lecture, I mean, family, I've seen presentations of that same topic, um, different documentaries, and I must say that we had some information within our presentation that wasn't seen anywhere else. Okay, so we did actually come to the conclusion and to the understanding that yes, the black woman is not God. But most individuals, especially Rastas, when I brought that to them, they were like, "So what's the black man?" That was the first response. So what's the black man? And I'm like, "But yo, we wasn't speaking about the black man in the first place. We were just speaking about the black woman." Okay, but nah, the black woman is the goddess and the man is the god. Yes, I kind of get what you're saying, but again, if you're doing the research, you will realize the word god is a neuter noun. It can be applied to both the masculine and the feminine concept. And as much, the word goddess wasn't created up until the 16th century. So it's just, to just dig into the cerebral cortex family, to just make people just more, how will I say, just to raise the awareness to different levels or different strata within the strata of spirituality, family. Because as I said again, all we've been exposed to is this Jesus Christ story. So we did that. We also did two other lectures, because I think I did about 5, right? So we've been building this brand for a while. So I go and register the brand. They're telling me somebody already have that name. It just has a slight difference. Instead of a MELANATED, is MELINATED. I'm like, guys, you can't be serious. Can I have the information, please? Let me go and look up the person. Go and look up the person, family. You know, Gaza, the person is actually an individual that come to my lectures already. That I actually put up the posters of my lectures, right, in their shop. I gotta call that a store, it's a shop, I have to call that. No disrespect to my brother that actually works there, Big up yourself, Gavin Malcolm, Ross Wilson. I have 5 posters up in your shop of my lectures, Gaza. You telling me I go and register my company name and the name is on the poster for the lectures, family? Because as I said, we're building the brand. So I have, see how the solar plexus, they're boiling inside. Let me see how they're sweating there. Attend my lectures already, and then you telling me you taking my name, my company name, to register your fucking company, Gaza? Huh? What kind of thing is that? That is unrighteous in all aspects of it. And the worst thing is, family, I also have a WhatsApp group, right? Named Melanated Empire. We have an Instagram page where predominantly it deals with our printing, right? The Facebook has uploaded the marketplace, a little one thing on the marketplace from time to time, and the YouTube, which is where I really upload, my perceptions, be it downloads or be it from research or whatever. You get me? So we've been building this, and you can't tell me, guys. So even I was basically saying in the WhatsApp group, these guys in the WhatsApp group, you in the WhatsApp group, my posters in your fucking shop, huh? You attend my lectures already. You tell me you register in a company and you're using my name, family. And them man want to pretend or say they woke and they conscious. And his excuses were like, oh well, he went with a name initially, and when they did the name search, they didn't really find when the company, the registrar of companies, when they did the name search that he had, right? The name was taken already. So he had the term melanated in his head. He don't know where it come from, and then he was like, oh, it probably came from my daughter because my daughter's name is Melody and she's 10, and the empire. When he thought of empire, he thought about me right away, but then he was like, he don't think I'll be using that name, man, like to register business. Like, how the fuck do you know that, bro? You check what I'm telling you. Now people might say, oh, yeah, Simon Jawish playing with like he conscious and he playing with like and him use profanity on the internet. Hopefully Facebook will cut the video yet. It's still going tracking. Him use profanity, and it's not about that. I wasn't playing with like, like I so righteous and I so all about consciousness that nah, two sides, guys. Look, Heru dealing with the righteousness. I'm on a set vibe there right now. You don't say I'm sitting by set side. So I screw there right now. So I'm using that energy to bring the judgment on that man. You check out what I say, because they're a righteous family. Now that's even where you will see some memes, because I'm sure the family come across some memes already. Because it's a meme world these days. Everything is a meme. I'm sure you come across some memes already saying, don't you feel sometimes you're not from this dimension and like you feel like you don't belong? And some people it might apply to, but most people would be like, yo, them memes are just chatting shit, man. You get me? But that is how I feel, family, because there is no place inside of me where actually will have the intent of doing that to somebody, especially someone I'm around, the family. Like I just cannot, like it just not me. So if that is basically predominantly, right, how people are in the world, while we are going through the phase of the awakening, right, within prehistoric times, family, some of the ancients thought that associated with the age of Aquarius is the planet Saturn. Now, if the family knows, Saturn is the planet where a lot of these secret societies worship and draw the energy from, right? So while it may be the age of awakening, there is still that Saturnalia worship, okay, that allow those in power to actually try and change the program or try and distract us, which is why we even getting all these viruses and everything happening. And from time something happening, shoot another black man there, and Black Lives Matter, and if it's not that, it's Corona. Like a whole mix-up, family, to just distract us from the awakening, from what's actually going on. You see it? So, as I was saying, most times, right, humble, righteous individuals that is actually innate within them will feel that they don't belong here, man. Because majority of people on this plane pushing that kind of speed. You see what I'm saying? And you that trying to hold yourself with your family and do your vibe and work, and you see, you ain't doing nobody nothing, and people still want to be unjust and unrighteous with you. You see what I'm saying? And these same individuals, I mean, I experienced that with Farais already, which is why part of my title saying Jack-Rases. I jump in on everything one time, So the fake woke niggas is the bedroom that basically attending my lectures, have my posters up in the shop. You might have a big wooden ank in his neck, even doing anks to sell. You might even doing anks to sell. Right? You play, you walk, you always want to have a reason. But these are some of the niggas that always on some Atlantis and move shit. You get me? Now somebody might say, oh, but Jarvis, you're saying niggas, and I'm not even calling that man a niggas. Mind you, he's supposed to be a Rasta. He's supposed to be a Ras. You see what I'm saying? Because he have locks and he playing like, and he have his big arm, so he playing like he's a Ras and he conscious. But you're a fake woke nigga guy, so you're not even a niggas. He's a nigga have to call you because you're there like a coon. Because how can that be in you to do to somebody? You check what I'm saying? And you know you lying when you come and consider, oh, is your daughter name starting with male and the thing starting with male. You fucking lying, bro. You check it? You lying, Gasa. You lie. Empress, you give me laugh. There's a clip of a video, a news presentation really, where there's a woman trying to give a story about some guys they shot. And how she was giving the story, a guy just interjected and he was like, you lie, you lie. That was so funny for me. But anyway, how can you do that to somebody? You can't do that to somebody else. And now mind you, I come on YouTube then vent because you can't just see the best of me, family. You understand? Some people trying to play with like you always see them at the optimum, and yeah, it's good to give a good presentation of yourself in the public. But yeah, the public have to see you screw too, and yeah. You see what I say? There is a balance, so we leave the balance today. Anyway, there are some people where they can never do that. It's not in them to do to somebody. Those are the divine children of the Son. You see what I'm saying? Those are the divine ones. They will think twice and be like, hold up, should I do that? You feel I should do that? They don't have no boy that using that. Because you can't tell me, guys, and that happened just a few months ago, you know. You can't tell me you're going to register a business a few months ago. And you've been hearing Melanated Empire in your head. You in the WhatsApp group named Melanated Empire. You still using the name and you saying you ain't no guys. Fucking woke nigga. And you fake woke because you play like you conscious, you want to have conscious reasoning, but then you're not a reader. You check what I'm telling you? Because readers don't steal guys. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't even want to really say it like that, you know, because man, man is composed and designed so a kind of way that because of that free will, if you want to call it, that man can do so many things, yo, probably. It's just, it really has to be part of you. That's why I say, people, you're supposed to know if you're divine. And you're not divine just because you're black. Like, the black card don't really pass it no more. You can't erase that card and feel that is it, man. You check it? Because the creator, the divine consciousness, even that many atheist brothers and sisters, because of the scientific empiricism that, might I add, came about just around in the 18th century, they only like to consider left brain hemisphere thinking, which is logistical and science, and they forget the right brain hemisphere, which deals with intuition. And you cannot get no African civilization that deals with just logic and science. They have to have the spirituality behind it. Right? So them niggas fake woke because they have an ank in their neck and they want to try and people like the conscious and they want to have them kind of reasoning there. Fake woke niggas and Jack-Rases. Not Jack-Asses, eh? But Jack-Rases. Now some people might be like, which one you can't diss all Rasties, and yeah, I understand that too, family, but them man setting a real dirty example for the movement. This is what I say, which is why I can no longer even really associate myself with the movement, even though you might see I have dreads and anything. You have to come and reason with me to know what time it is. Did you check what I say? So that is the fake woke niggas. The Jack-Rases, he falling in the category because he have locks. But the Jack-Rases, which is a video I had to do since the day, was for an individual called Malaki. Because when I was doing the now this is the Caribbean family, so while I'm reasoning, you will hear dogs barking, you might hear the crickets out loud. That's things beyond my control. You understand? Um, the Jack-Rases. When I was doing the lectures, family, I brought a flyer of the Black Woman is God specifically that lecture to that Malaki bedroom. Right? The family who's close to me will see the troll, how much he trolled some of my pictures and things. That Malaki bedroom because he have a space on Clark Street there where he have his little shop and things. They sell nice things, you know. And he just be on a mic giving little different wisdom and different vibe there. So the bedroom, because of his egotistical demeanor, right? Most people within the south of the island in Viewfort, they're even afraid to even stand up to that man. You check by telling you. But again, when you begin to know and acknowledge and understand your history and where you're from, because first man must know thyself. So when you begin to know thyself more, family, you get more self-confident and your self-esteem is just up there. That don't mean you will infringe on someone's space or you might make them feel unworthy or something of that sort. But you know how to conduct yourself at the appropriate time, right? So anyway, brought the bedroom my flyer, and the bedroom basically look at the Black Woman is gone. Nah man. I tell him, but But Malaki just come to the lecture and see what I have to say. And so if the black man is God, what's the black man? But the black man is God too. But we're not speaking about the black man. Can't we just speak about the black woman by herself for a second? Huh? Why is it so offensive? Now that's where we're seeing the Judeo-Christian mindset attached to the movement, because most Rastas like that. In all Rasta house, the woman is inferior to the man. Straight up. I am afraid to say it. I mean, all men supposed to know what time it is. There is no balance. You check what I'm telling you? No balance. Now, since this is so, for an individual that proliferates in such a gender, for you to see something that's really against it or trying to give the goddess even equal status, which it is in every African culture, giving the goddess equal status with the man, right? It's like, Casa, I want to see that and get defensive straight up. Yeah. And me and the man end up clashing there. At first, it was bringing facts and information. And then the man just feeling well, like, because he's a year or 2 years older than me, want to try and run me and diss me. And so I really had to just put him in his place and walk off. Now, by that time, people around the neighborhood really then start coming out and seeing what had going on, because it's like no one has ever stood up to Malaki. So, like, what had going on there? And Jawish not doing that. I mean, always calm, always on his own vibe. So everybody freak out. So he's just starting to feel a kind of way, because everybody know he big and bad, and his shit always half butting, all his chest hairs out, and he's like, you know, and talking how much thing and running people. So it's like everybody know he bad already. So if Jawish have to come and stand up to that man and put that man in his place about something about Rasta, so everybody them come out watching already. The man walking behind me, playing like he want to run, chat, and me and I have to cut my locks and all them chat, you know. Because I far again have to cut my locks and all kind of things, them Egypt thing I on, and they have man on the wall like masturbating and his dick in his hand and he want to swallow his own cum, and I'm like, that's a ras to me, yes. So that's where the Jack-Rases thing come into it. You check what I'm telling you? Turns out the bedroom still came when the lecture was ending. When the lecture ended, the bedroom came and he played like he come with a humble mood. So when he come, lecture ended already, I still almost gave him another lecture outside because he started to ask questions, and I just gave him a little bill. I didn't even dig nothing. You see me after that, we have a reasoning on the Jesus topic, which I even have to go into just now. On the Jesus, because he's a Bible man again, right? Most Rastas, we cannot deny it. So we had that clash, but then after that we were speaking a bit, you understand? And based on the Jesus thing, we almost had a little clash after that again. That wasn't really heated like the first one, right? Then the bedroom move on. Turns out the bedroom on Facebook, as I see in your post and everything, you write something like, you have a big post saying the Ethiopian Bible is the oldest Bible, and this and that and this and that and the food. So I give a little comment on the thing. I say, well, technically it's not really the oldest Bible, because from time you're doing any biblical research, the furthest resource they will give you is the Septuagint. You check what I'm telling you? So if it's the Septuagint, take for example, we go on Blue Letter Bible, right? And for the family who don't know, the Septuagint is actually the text that was created when even Ptolemy II, his librarian, requested that they get the 6 elders from all of the 12 tribes of Israel to gather together at Alexandria so they can get a copy of the Hebrew text in Greek. But again, it's just a story, family. We're not even going to go into that. But that is the first scenario we have of these texts and these documents. They named it the Septuagint, which means 70. But I mean, I thought it was 72 individuals, you know, because 6 from 12 tribes, it will be 72. Anyway, when you go on a application like Blue Letter Bible and you go and do some research in terms of Strong's Concordance and even the original text, if it differs in English, it gives you the Septuagint. It doesn't give you Ge'ez or the Ethiopian Bible as the oldest resource. So I tell the man, well, actually the Septuagint is older. The man feel well like I come and steal his shine. So you just start to run me and yeah, and you feel you is something because this and that. First experience on Facebook. Okay. I put up a post. Benjamin want to come under my post and say, you know, I think I put a post up of me with my rides, right? The picture. Something I hardly do. I'm like, you know what, fuck it. Caribbean vibes. Imagine like, what? Where the Caribbean vibes? They don't have no sun, no trees, no nothing, no nothing. So I have to explain to him, well, if you're really my bedroom and you're watching my videos, you will see I even give videos already on different aspects of nature, even within nature in itself. So you can even come and run them chat with me. Dialogue back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And next topic come up, the man back. It's like the man just trolling me, guys. You check what I'm telling you? And then last interaction, I put you in your place so much intellectually. That's the thing, you know. I never really come and disrespect the bedroom, how the bedroom come and disrespect me. I put you in your place intellectually, right? And you play, and you were like, oh, Jawish, I have to come down, man. I have to come down. And all the bad you play, you bad on Facebook, and I have to come down. I'm like, nigga, what the fuck are you talking about? What bad I playing on Facebook? All my replies to you, even my comments on your post, all of them have been intellectual like that you can go and actually research. But obviously, you're trying to run me, you know, in some long comment. I go stay like a jack. I go, you're alone to stop, but still take it on an intellectual level. You see what I'm saying? So you cannot be well like, oh, I play like a bad on Facebook and he must come down and all them kind of thing. So I don't come and play no role. I just come and show you is a punk you be. And again, that's not my first experience with Rastas really egotistical, taking advantage on them level. You understand? So that's why it falling now. Mind you, if you've been abreast, you will see that within the reason, I even touching on all aspects within the topic, within the description of the video. And that is Rasta Piscean? Because if you would have to be part of the Piscean age belief system. Because it's like, how can you do that to an individual, Rasta? You check what I'm telling you? How can you even behave that way? Even a bedroom or even raise up within the same community. That's why I still freak out on the bedroom that in my WhatsApp group attended my lectures, my posters in your shop, and you meantime you still register in your business and with my name. Yes, I might say, yes, my well, guys, it's your fault. You should have registered business already. Yeah, but I'm building my brand. You understand? And that's understandable. And I did because if you go on Google now, right, and you type Melanated Empire, is me, is Melanated Empire, YouTube, you will get straight up. You check it. So the time came now, you understand, to take that step because 2 and 2 is 4, 4 self is completeness, and we have the 0 being, you know, infinity because the circle 360 degrees, 3 plus 6 is 9. Different levels, family. So we just saw now is basically the time. So I think all in all, family, is like, it just appears from many examples that while you cannot try to bracket all Christians, all Muslims, even all Rastas within the same category, they're like a Peter Pan for porn. But what all have in common is that all subscribe to, you know, a belief system and all hold religious corpuses that they adhere to. So what these religious corpuses teaching you all? You check what I'm telling you? The better not trying that tip might, well, I say you tip might because it's something he tried. Yes, it's registered, but don't feel like you just let that slide just so. I know what to do within the physical and within the spiritual realm. And it's sleeping you. So, on that level, it's like from time you subscribe to this monotheistic concept and this man on top, woman below, and them kind of level there. From time you subscribe to any Abrahamic philosophy or mindset, I think you have more a susceptibility to be like that to somebody. Unrighteous, moving on a side like a crab. You know what I mean? So I'm just really pissed off that it's really a people that try to show, you know what, we're different from the contemporary. We're different. And, you know, we're basically just different, right? Which are the Rastas? I see Nasa, when you get a Rasta that not moving properly, I will move it on the side so much. You can't even trust. Which means like sweat. The solar plexus go and come on just now. So you can't even trust, family. So ultimately, we touch on right. We touch on the fake woke niggas. We touch on the Jack-Rases. Fake woke niggas going out to Matthias Joseph in your bamboo clat. Jack-Rases going out to Malachi, Jean-Bar, whatever your name is. The Rasta of the Piscean age, we deal with that already. Now, if I close up the video, is Yeshua and Jesus the very same individual. Now, the first thing you're supposed to just take from that really is, okay, Yeshua is an older name. Yeshua actually sounds like Jehovah or Yahweh or whatever, right? And it doesn't have a J. So you're supposed to know that the letter J was created roughly around the 15th century, 15th, 16th century. And as a result, probably Yeshua is his name, and they did have an individual called Yeshua. Now, is Yeshua and Jesus the very same individual? For us to know, is the Bible actually, is the individual in the New Testament that the Bible is speaking about, is that Jesus or is that Yeshua? Is that the very same individual? I trust my Lucian scholar, Hirumat, why is a Hirumat, and he basically gave me the understanding of within the Sanhedrin, which basically is a name for Jewish courts family. They had two of them. They had the greater and the lesser Sanhedrin. It's recorded that these courts, these tribunals were created around 538 BC and 1 AD. So he said within the Sanhedrin and their documents, it is said that an individual named Joshua actually existed, and he was hung on a tree, and he had 5 disciples. So I'm like, really? Okay. Because again, when you come into the consciousness and into the awakening, you'll be like, okay, Jesus fake and everything about Jesus is fake. But then if you come into really do the research, you know what I mean, family, you will come across this information. Added on top of my Lucian scholar, big up yourself. If the family is also abreast with the conscious community, there is this individual called Brother Garfield, big up yourself, bro. And he's basically in a debate. He had to do a debate with Jabari where on if Christianity was stolen from Kemet. And last time they had a dialogue, they were dialoguing basically on the existence of Jesus Christ. So Garfield is basically saying Nero made an account that some Christians started a fire, and the Christians, if they call them Christians, obviously they follow an individual called Christ. And he turned down a ancient document where it was from Emperor Hadrian, which said that the people who worship Serapis were referred to as Christians. And he said that we have to update our information because if we used to use that document years ago, we can't use it now because I guess some Christian apologetics actually went deep into the historical records and probably didn't come across Emperor Hadrian actually making that comment, right? So he's basically saying if Emperor Nero says that, then these individuals called Christians who started the fire, they must have been worshiping an individual called Christ. Mind you, Serapis was called Serapis Christus, right? And there were people even worshiping that individual. So he wants to cancel that out and, just ride with an individual named Jesus actually existed. Number one, his name is not Jesus because the letter J didn't exist. Now, they will say that is a weak argument, but let us go down into it, family. If there is an individual called Yeshua and he was hung on a tree and he had 5 disciples, that is not the same individual as the Bible. You cannot tell me, well, basically they embellish the story because that is how writers at that time wrote. So, for example, if we talking about Dionysus, for example, or if we're talking about Mithra, you will come across that them being born probably on December 25th. You will hear basically that they're healing sick people. You will hear obviously them being resurrected, right? So to him, he's saying that is how the writers of that time wrote. Number one, why did they write like that? They wrote like that because Kemet, which is the birthplace of civilization, religion, science, mathematics, architecture, that is where that story originated from. So you'll find everybody that's trying to push a God concept will attach that story, family, that hero story, that story of the sun, because the sun is the most high, we'll pass the sun. They try to attach that story within their own understanding, within their own culture. You see what I'm saying? So he's saying that they embellish the story of Jesus. So there's actually a man called Yeshua, but they embellish the story in regards to him performing these miracles. In my understanding, Joshua, Jesus, right? Joshua hung on a tree, 5 disciples. Jesus, 12 disciples, hung on a cross, resurrected, performed miracles, walked on water, fed 5,000 people with 2 fish and 5 loaves. You know what I mean? So, in such an embellishment, we went from 5 to 12 disciples. None of the miracles you ever did, right? So, to me, that's not the same individual. You cannot just blame it on embellishment alone, family. You check what I'm telling you? And that individual never resurrected. That individual also never gave none of the accounts and none of what he allegedly said within the religious corpus, within the Bible. None of what is said. The man say, the man did say none of these things. You understand? And he may just have been just an ordinary individual who probably just had. That's how we have gangs. Gang, bad boy gang in Lucia. Right? I'm with my fruit a little bit there, putting down the rude boy. We have gangs in St. Lucia, right? That have more than 5 men following them. You check what I'm telling you? So if you have a gang and 20 men following a man, probably in the next 20 years, 40 years, you're going to tell me, well, they'll embellish a story about him and he'll be the savior. That is not the same individual, Rasta. That is not the same individual. And that individual didn't resurrect. He wasn't crucified on the cross. No Mary Magdalene. So that throws the whole story in regards to the literal interpretation of it out the window. And from time we look at it within a higher consciousness, a higher realm, as in within perhaps a bit of astrotheology and metaphysical understanding, of course you can justify what is written in the book. I mean, come on. But I'm just saying all of this to say that it still is evident that no Jesus Christ ever existed. Sorry to hurt any Catholic feelings, or so if no Jesus Christ ever existed, how can he reincarnate to come again? Or how can even the movement now grasp or hold to the understanding that, well, Selassie is the man reincarnated, or Emmanuel is the man reincarnated in this time, and but it's like he never existed. It's a consciousness, is a level of understanding, a level of awareness within your family. That's all it is. You check it. But if you want to try and make it literal, and because if you want to go to a literal rendition and what happened literally, these people called the Hebrew or the Israelites, they actually did come into Canaan. They did come into Egypt, right? But no man Moses ever let them out. Moses never split no Red Sea. You know what I mean? But if you go according to the story, Moses grew up in Egypt. He was taught in all the wisdom of Egypt. So obviously, if the nigga had to go and make a fucking few rules for some people following him in the story, right? Obviously, it would have to be around what he was learned in Egypt. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying about that. So no Jesus ever existed, family. That Yeshua is not the same Jesus. You can even call on Yeshua because that nigga he didn't even resurrect himself. I'm sure when he was done on a creeding, I really know, but I'm sure the nigga didn't call on no Jehovah. Because at that point in time within Roman history, they had so many deities. You know what I mean? And yes, they say, well, you were Jewish and and what have you. But we did do a video recently on our YouTube channel, Melanated Empire. Does Yahweh have a wife? And turns out that he did. Turns out that he did call Ashira. So this Canaanite deity called Yahweh, or El and Yahweh, is basically the same individual. That Canaanite deity that black people want to hold on to and even stamp that sort of perception and understanding on an African king, which some of his actions and some of his decisions are still questionable. I mean, even I was susceptible to it at the moment. It was what we needed. Again, that's why I say it falls within the Piscean age, family. It falls within the Piscean age because, come on, don't tell me nobody is seeing that Rasta is not really rising like before. You're really getting the Rasta youths like before that just come in and burst their locks just so. Locks even right now turn even to a style, you can even go on free up in society for locks and they're really digging on you because they give a little free up. Not like how it was back in the day, which was when the real Rastas was there, man, going the hills, man, not even really seeing Selassie as God. They're seeing him as a black king, and and that's about it. But it's like we just take the thing and run away with it. You understand? So Yeshua is not Jesus. Leave Yeshua alone where he is. He can save you, black people. He was still Arabic, right? Not black to say, well, like he's a black man from Africa. He was still Arabic. You understand? Hang on the tree, 5 disciples. So he's not the very same individual in the Bible. Therefore, that individual in the Bible can't be resurrected. You have to take that understanding on a different level. We also have to do a video on our YouTube channel called the 7 levels of consciousness for you to know what level you're on really, right? And yeah, family. So it's just real judgment. I call on the ancestors at this present moment, actually, to even hunt them niggas, man. Because you can't tell me you're taking a bedroom name and a bedroom building to work, working, studying, late night, late hours to do my lectures, building my platform and that. You come and do me. But you see the last of me yet, straight up. So we give this set judgment. We got that off our chest. We can now breathe into the solar plexus. Breathe out. We are many names. Say again, guys. Yeah, breathing out without spread and breathe out the bullshit. But we go deal with that still because we ain't giving up that name. Melanated Empire. Because it's all about that ninth ether, that melanin, that carbon molecule family. Rising consciousness. Not just through clothing, by any means necessary. And having said that, peace to all of family who give me a little moment of the time watching the video. Just basically highlighting the unrighteousness even within a specific set of people that claim to be righteous more than the other religious counterparts, although all of them are under the Judeo-Christian Abrahamic umbrella. So that's why we as black people, that thing not for us. You understand? But you have to be real divine, because like I said, the very first topic was fake woke niggas. So a nigga can still play with like he on some Maat. And that's his name in my group, Maat. Nigga, what the? The ancestors go send some real judgment on you. You should why telling you? Some real judgment. It's just time still. You understand? And you're not real on Maat. Because if it was really about Maat, you would know you can't do them kind of thing. You check it? Straight up and down. I went on Shaka to see. So peace and power to the family. Though we are rising in consciousness, there are still some of our people that the post-traumatic slave syndrome, even though they play like they woke and they have an anchor around the neck, they still tie up, family. They still tie up. So some I blame, some I blame, because you elder enough to know you can't do anything. Right? We go find out what time it is. Peace and love, family. We're not staying in that same direction. We're elevating higher because now we vented. Give thanks to the family for even sitting and even reasoning if me and me just vent still and breathe off still. So it's not about just showing the family, oh, come in and all smiles. No, I just be screwed. And I don't no false pretense or no overly righteous or overly conscious individual. I show only balance. But I know what is right within myself because I listen to that divine spark of consciousness that I am. Always try my best to listen to it. Even when you're giving me little hints about little vibes, synchronicities, and I always listen to it, family. I would say 92%. 95% probably I ignored it or I wasn't paying attention or something of that sort. But that is what differentiates, especially within this time of great distraction. They have the Great Depression that passed time ago, when the global financial crash. Great Depression. I won't forget what I said there. So now, family, you have to be more aware, guys, and deal more with energies. Because if I was really paying attention, I just take it like, is the bedroom shop, the bedroom tell me, yeah, I free up to put it in his shop and he come to the left. So I take it as I didn't really search his energy. You check it? Search people's energy, man. Because a lot of people are starting to go the system, and I don't even want to say the Babylonian way, because Babylon was really a son of Cush. We actually have a negativity towards Babylon because, again, biblically, that is where the Rastas got it from, like Chen Babylon, because they say according to the Bible they were exiled in Babylon. But Babylon is a son of Cush, Cush self being Tarseti, basically ancient Sudan, or what most would think is Ethiopia. But I'll seal it up there, family. I'll go and finish building my home and finish meditating as to what steps man have to take Within the spiritual realm, I know what to do already, but physical realm, I want to see what time it is. Peace and power.